Hello, welcome with one more sentence correction question. Here we will talk about some ideas that how to eliminate sentences, especially in sentence correction, and what are the minor things that we should look at and we should care about it. So here we begin with first question, that is, before the mayhem, Robino Coy, himself an absconded slave, returned many times to Lipipo to guide other slaves along the Underground Railroad to freedom. Look here, Robino Coy, himself an absconded slave, modifying Robino Coy. So Robino Coy returned many times to Lipipo to guide. So, and other slaves along the Underground Railroad to freedom. A seems fine. So A we can reserve, which we'll talk about. B, being an absconded slave himself, returned many times to Lipipo so as to cut. Remember that the error that's called so as to. Whenever we use so as to, automatically it's an incorrect grammar because the correct idiom is so adjective as to verb. So beautiful as to follow, as to love, as to worship, whatever the words can be used, we can use. So whenever you look at so as to in sentence correction, eliminate it without thinking. Why? Because it is wrong. So we can eliminate B. C, an absconded slave himself returned many times to Lipipo for guiding. Remember, difference between for ing and to plus verb, that's called gerund and infinitive. So whenever the verb that's called return talks about purpose, that's called purpose. In that case, it should be to plus verb. Example, look here, return. So he returned. The reason was guiding, right? So the purpose is guiding. That's why it should not be for ing. So any verb which talks about purpose, it should be to plus verb. That's called infinitive. So for guiding, here for guiding is incorrect. We can eliminate C. Now D, himself as an absconded slave returned many times to Lipipo so as to. Already we have talked about so as to be guided off. So we have already talked about so as to, and so as to is incorrect. Why? Because so plus adjective, as to plus verb should be here. D can be eliminated. E choice. Robino Coy, who had been himself as an absconded slave, returned many times to Lipipo for the guiding of. The same problem we talked in option C, verb plus ing, I mean say for ing or to plus infinitive verb. We know that we are talking about the purpose, so it should be to guide rather than guiding. So we can eliminate E. It's mean A is correct choice. Now we will talk about question number 2. Who says woolen design, a famous hobby of Hamlet ladies, became an art form in the hands of Sokiko Garan, a reformer war heroine. Here, a famous hobby of Hamlet ladies, modifying woolen design. Woolen design became an art form in the hands of Sokiko Garan, a reformer. So, all right, everything is fine here. We can reserve A. B, designed a famous Hamlet hobbies, and it became an art form. It look, the first sentence hobbies. So whenever there is apostrophe plus s, it modifies next to word, and it can be anything that is not clear. So the first is incorrect modifier. Second, and it became. Look, it's not complete clause. And after clause, again it's a pronoun plus verb. It's been woolen design should follow subject verb and then comma, then and. It's all right. So that's called incorrect use of and it. So we can eliminate B. Now C. Design was famous hobby for Hamlet ladies. Then it became art form in the hands of. Look here. So the for, it should not be for. Why? Because hobby of is the correct idiom. The second problem here, that then it became an art. So also we can talk about it, but one is enough to eliminate. C can be eliminated. D. Design is a famous hobby of Hamlet ladies that has become an art form by Sokiko Garan, a reformer war heroine. Look here. The problem is that has. So here the modifying ladies became an art form, but woolen design became an art form. So meaning has changed. That's called incorrect usage. Another problem, for the ladies we use who, and again it should not be has but have, so that there are two three errors back to back. We can eliminate D, so we are left with E. Design, the famous Hamlet hobby, became an art form for. Look that it's a half usage of words. So art form in the hand of Sokiko. If we talk about art form for Sokiko or the former war heroine, so became art form for, that will be incorrect idiom. Why? Because we need art form in the hands of, that will be the, it will give correct sense. So we can eliminate, because of for we can eliminate E. So now the reason is why, because form in the hand. So A is correct choice. Now 3. Mosquitoes that hatch in winter outlive only about few days, but those that emerge in the warmer days of fall often outlive longer than 6 months. Here that's called, but those that emerge. All right. So that hatch in the winter outlive about few days, but those that emerge in warmer days often, that's called correct parallelism. Look, mosquitoes that hatch in the winter outlive few days, but those, so here mosquitoes got it. So here again those means mosquitoes, that's called correct parallelism, that emerge in the warmer days of fall often outlive longer than 6 months. So it seems fine. We can reserve A, we can go with B. So it says few days, but those that emerge in warmer days of fall often outlive as long or longer than. Look here, as long as is correct. Idiom, as long as or longer than. So we can eliminate B. Now we will talk about C. Days which is different from those that emerge in the warmer days of fall and often outlive longer than 6 months. Look here. So here days which is, see, days is different from. So days are different from, and though meaning is also changed. Days are different from those that emerge in the warmer. Mosquitoes should be the correct word, because here mosquito is emerging warmer days, but here the days is emerging in the more warmer days, so meaning is incorrect. We can eliminate C. E. Days then those that emerge in the warmer days of fall often outlive as long as or longer. Look here, days then those that. All right, here incorrect uses of then. What we need? We need but to give the correct parallelism. All right, so here and then again the semicolon. Semicolon means what? Semicolon means and then those. Look, the two incorrect word has been used, that's called incorrect conjunction, that's called one incorrect use of semicolon, and then is second is then, so we can eliminate D. Days, this is different from those that emerge in the warmer days of fall, who often outlive. Of course, there is a one error, two errors in the sentence, but we can go with the second one first. Who often? Who often means what? Fall often outlive. Though the fall is not, mosquito outlives, right? Because of this, it is a comparison to seasons. So here incorrect modifiers and of course the agreement along with the incorrect senses, and so we can eliminate E2 because of this reason, and of course days, this is also the part of it, but one is enough to eliminate, so we can eliminate E. A was the correct answer, right? So number 4, that's called question number 4. Professor Ronald acknowledged information on the condition that lead women to a gynecologist, and he notes that these conditions can and sometimes are used in the promotion of surgery which is not needed. Look, incorrect comparison. Sorry, incorrect parallelism. Can and are used. Can used, it's not a correct verb. That's called, it's called passive voice. Are used, can used, not possible. Can be used is all right. So here we can eliminate because of incorrect parallelism and incorrect parallelism of tenses, that is passive voice. So we can eliminate A. B. Noting that these conditions can be and sometimes are used to promote needle surgery. Exactly what the parallelism we were talking about, the upper side. Here the same, that can be and are used. That's called correct passive form of tenses. We can go with B. We can reserve it. Let's see about C. And notes that they could and sometimes are used unnecessarily in the promoting surgery. The same problem. Could active voice are used, passive voice that's called incorrect. Parallelism, along with one more problem that's called they. So here they means what? Is it talking about the conditions or it is talking about the women? So the sense is not clear. That's called the pronoun issues. We can eliminate C. Now D. Sometimes promoting needless surgery. So here means condition that lead women to the gynecologist and promoting. So here conditions that lead women to gynecologist and promoting needless surgery. So here the using of promoting is incorrect. Why? Because here the lead women to a gynecologist and sometimes promoting. So if we talk about the agreement of the sentence, that's called incorrect. It should not be ing here. So we can eliminate D also. Now we are left with E. So E says, look, so E says, which they use sometimes to promote unnecessary surgery. Here, the same time to promote was a fine, but here is incorrect. Here, promoting was incorrect. Here, to promote needless surgery is all right. Here, which means what? Gynecologist, and which they use. Here, what should be here? You can automatically see that which is incorrect. Why? Because it is modifying gynecologist and gynecologists use. Again, use of the they, it's called incorrect sense. Why? Because which and they both are the pronoun and two pronouns for the one purpose is incorrect use. So we can eliminate E. It means B is correct choice. So let's talk about question number 5. Convincing though it seems, the drawback of the hypothesis is that it does not include all relevant facts. All right. Look here. Convincing though it seems. Of course, though is conjunction and it should be used in the beginning of the sentence or before initiating any clause. Clause means one subject, one verb. It seems. So whenever though is used, there must be the beginning of the sentence. That's though it seems, not any word that is used initially. So here that is incorrect. So we can eliminate A. Now B, even though it seems, all right. So here the word you can see here, even though it seems convincing, the drawback of the hypothesis is fine. So we can go with the B. Let's talk about B is all right. Let's talk about the C. Though convincing, the hypothesis is drawback. So look here that the meaning of though convincing, the same problem that I told, though plus clause should be here, subject and one verb, and the hypothesis is, so here it's incorrect modifier because whatever the word will come, that will. So hypothesis is drawback and then convincing. So here all about the incorrect usage of the word. It should not be here. Is that it does not include all relevant facts. So C can be eliminated. Now option we have B. All right. B says though the hypothesis is seems convincing. Look here. Hypothesis is plural form of hypothesis. And is and seems both cannot be used together because seems is singular, is singular, and you know that whenever we use is, am, are, we use ing. Though seem is the word that's called non-continuous verb. So seeming is incorrect usage of here. So here is again seems also to the error that's called blunder in sentence correction that has been used here. So we can eliminate D. Now we are with E. The drawback of the hypothesis is which seems convincing. Oh, all right. Look here. Is and which again. So hypothesis is and before is again which. So which is modifying is. That's not because which is a pronoun that should modify noun. So hypothesis seems convincing is possible, though seems plus hypothesis is incorrect. Why? Plural and singular. And again is and which is also not correct. So here we can eliminate E2. So we are left with B. So B is correct answer. Hopefully you have got some ideas, some good information. I'll come back with some more information, with some new ideas. Have a nice moment, and you are learning from your teacher named Raja.